Alright. I'll help you out.
Tired, right?
Yeah.
Well.
1995, am I right? I mean, sure, it had some mistakes like OJ was innocent, Rwandan genocide, but it wasn't terrible. 1995 is probably better historically known for the year I was born. It's even better known for being the year that saw the release of one of the best films of cinematic fucking history. Move over, Citizen Kane! Out of the way, Casablanca! You knew what this was, Humphrey Bogart! I'm not going through this with you again. Toy Story! Otherwise known as literal magic in the form of a film reel, this movie was groundbreaking in the art of storytelling, visual effects, and general cinematography, with characters voiced by all-stars such as Tim Allen, Don Rickles, Arlie Ermey, Jim Varney, Ernest, and Tom Hanks, who, by the way, is my favorite actor ever, portraying probably my favorite character ever. This movie has it all. Few films can really be considered masterpieces on the same level as Toy Story, an adventure filled with love, grief, and hope. Bible. Just the mention of this movie anywhere is enough to make me excited. Before I can talk about Toy Story, I have to talk about Pixar, who are more or less pioneers in computer animation-based filmmaking. Of course, nowadays, computer animation is basically the market standard in terms of big-screen cartoons, but back in the wonder days of 1995, it was practically unheard of. Pixar had done the whole short film thing before, mostly involving toys if you could believe in the real-life foreshadowing, but now it was time to take that concept to the next level. And holy fuck did they bring it! Not only was it the first completely CGI feature film to ever be released, but it received critical acclaim and is widely accepted as, like, the best thing ever in the entire universe. How can I even put Toy Story into words? It's a serious behemoth of a movie, really? Okay, sure. In this day and age, even I would have to admit it looks a little dated. But look, just because I can see all the imperfections in the animation and shaders does not mean I'm not looking past it. It's all about your perspective. That's actually what makes it so wonderful. Toy Story is a wonderful representation, a symbol, if you will, of childhood. It takes us back to a simpler time in more ways than one. All the main characters in this story are the toys. The toys, ironically, are some of the most emotive and wonderful characters I've ever seen. You can really see all the effort Pixar put into fleshing them out, bringing them to life, and making them feel alive and real. Ironically, all the toys have their own personalities and voices, making it truly feel like its own ensemble of actors. There's a lot of them too. Even though we have two main protagonists, Woody and Buzz Lightyear, each toy has clearly been given some proper love to really make them feel like their own real characters with their own stories, all of them having lovable, playful connections and references to their function as a toy. Best of all, it's really this movie's story that makes it what it is. We begin our story amongst a makeshift town made out of cardboard boxes, which have been drawn and colored on by Andy, sort of our protagonist, but definitely not our main character. In this intro, we see him at work with the toys, playing out a sort of Western scenario, and improvising the other roles with all the other toys. Here we can see Mr. Potato Head, not only an actual toy but one of the main characters of this movie series, Rex, Slinky, Bo Peep, and more. It actually works as a great representation of a child's playtime too. I mean, instead of not using the other toys because they don't fit in with the scenario, Andy simply expands the possibilities of his world by calling Slinky a force-fueled dog and Rex as Woody's dinosaur whose sole source of food is force-fueled dogs. I mean, that right there is probably the only example of child logic you'll ever need. The scenario comes to a close as Woody saves the day, and Randy Newman's "You've Got a Friend in Me" swells to the visual of Andy playing with Woody throughout the house. I'd like to remind everyone that it's perfectly okay to cry. Even sobbing pitifully is perfectly acceptable. All of a sudden I'm in a fetal position drenched in my own tears, mourning with the nostalgia of days since past. You ever heard of Saudade? Well, anyways, let this set the tone for the rest of the film. After this short introduction to our world, we're finally introduced to Woody, who comes alive and begins to panic about Andy's birthday party being pushed to today. All of a sudden, we're introduced to the rest of Andy's toys, an incredibly diverse group of knickknacks. This scene is truly great, as we really get a sense of what the toys are like. It's wonderful because they actually defy expectation. One would imagine a story like this sees the toys as being perhaps a little naive. Maybe Woody thinks he's really a cowboy. But no! In fact, it's the complete opposite. All the toys are actually completely aware of their stations in life as, well, toys. They completely understand the concept of being playthings and as such have more or less accepted it as their jobs. And they live for it. It's probably the most logical way to handle it, and this is why Pixar are simply masters of their craft. Storytelling. Their self-awareness is so prevalent, it's actually comedic. Mr. Potato Head actually expresses frustration when Andy lets his baby sister play with him.
Ages 3 and up, it's on my box. Ages 3 and up. I'm not supposed to be babysitting Princess Drool.
We also get a brief glimpse into the personalities of each of the toys. Ham being the lovable, oddly tech-savvy piggy bank, Potato Head being the hot-headed, temperamental wisecracker, Slinky being kind of a chilled-out, optimistic, southern accented dog, and Rex adorably being the scaredy cat who's trying to be a better dinosaur.
I think I'm just coming off as annoying.
Even Etch, who is a mute Etch-a-Sketch, yet resolves to drawing to convey his emotions. Oh my god, yes, perfect, yes. Seriously, if you don't love these guys, then you have a problem. Might want to get that checked out. This should be giving you a fucking blood sugar problem. Still don't know how I feel about Bo Peep's sexual innuendo and potential nymphomania. Woody is quickly established as the leader. Easily the most level-headed of the crew, but he clearly considers all the other toys his coworkers and close friends. The characters almost have some sort of tiny village/office civilization dynamic in play. This is made completely evident when Woody calls for a staff meeting. Woody calls for a staff meeting. And they're toys. Fucking, like, that shit is perfect. They're just casually toys. It's amazing. I'd also like to add all the little details in the animation and dialogue that really makes this movie feel complete. Kind of like during the meeting where Woody tries to walk closer to the crowd and tugs on the mic wire to get Mr. Mike closer, and you see their cute expressions. We see this throughout the entire movie, and it really makes the characters feel much more like actors than they would have had the movie been done without nearly as much care or attention. As the party guests arrive, the toys frantically gather around the window to see what the guests are bringing. It's also interesting to note here that this is what the toys consider a big deal. The idea that Andy might be getting more or even better toys foreshadows our main story. We see just how fragile the toys really are, and not even in reference to their accident-prone nature. The toys panic so much that Woody, in an attempt to calm them down, sends down the Green Army Men, fittingly led by Arnold Lee Ermey. Everything about that whole sentence sounds like a dream. Both a real dream and like a terrifying fever dream because, like...
Do you suck dicks?
In this scene, we get an idea of just how long the toys have been doing this for. I mean, the Army Men and the toys already know exactly what to do in a situation like this. Once again, this will be a bit of a foil for what happens next. It's actually a pretty intense moment. We even suffer a near loss of one of the men. We go through the gifts until Andy's mom pulls out a surprise, but before it can even be revealed, Rex knocks over the walkie. The kids come up and the toys rush to their spots, and in a very symbolic moment, Woody is tossed aside from his spot on the bed and is replaced by a spaceship. All the toys are sure to question Woody's misplacement.
Ice cream, I suppose. It's just a mistake.
Well, that mistake is sitting in your spot, Woody.
Enter Buzz Lightyear. So Woody, the old-timey cowboy, was thrown off the bed and replaced by a crashed spaceship that held a modern-age space ranger? It's obvious symbolism, sure, but isn't that simply amazing? The juxtaposition Woody is put in by having someone who more or less was intended as a direct replacement for him? Storytelling, motherfucker! And here we get our answer to the question of the mentality of newer toys. Buzz not only doesn't realize he's a toy, but he actually thinks he's Buzz Lightyear, the character who's just landed on a new planet. He has no idea that he came from likely exploited child labor in some factory in the middle of Taiwan. Woody takes the initiative to introduce himself, but more importantly to inform him that he's in his spot.
There has been a bit of a mix-up. This is my spot, see?
Of course, Buzz is completely oblivious to anything going on around him. The rest of the toys gather around to see the new toy and ask questions, inevitably comparing Woody to Buzz. All of a sudden, we see Woody start to get really uneasy and hostile towards Buzz, thanks to the other toys seeing him as superior, even though Woody brings up the valid point that he is not, in fact, a space ranger and cannot actually fly. Cue a strange, over-the-top moment where Buzz miraculously jumps around the room and does not hit the floor or walls and does not shatter into tiny plastic pieces. The toys applaud this, while Woody calls it falling with style, which is arguably just as cool as flying. Don't be a dick, Woody.
I found my moving buddy.
Wow, what the fuck, Bo? Fucking asshole. So, as the week progresses, Woody starts to notice exactly what he feared as it becomes more and more apparent. Buzz not only replaces Woody as Andy's favorite toy, but the rest of the toys eventually warm up to Buzz much more as well. This causes Woody to become progressively more malevolent. Eventually, Woody realizes that Buzz truly believes he is the Buzz Lightyear. After this, we're introduced to Sid, aka that kid who would bully you in school, aka the biggest fucking prick asshole in the history of mankind, Earth, the universe, and life as we know it. Fuck this guy. His first scene shows him detonating a firecracker strapped to a combat car. Buzz proposes the toys do something only to watch Sid light the bomb. That's gotta be like a mile away in toys, so why are they jumping away? Jesus Christ! That child should not have an actual stick of dynamite! It literally reaches the window, what? So, if it wasn't evident, we have not seen the last of Sid. Here, we're brought to our story's turning point. Woody is on the brink of insanity when Andy's mom invites Andy to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Planet and tells him that he can only bring one toy.
One toy?
Woody consults a magic 8-ball to no avail and throws it behind the desk, and quickly realizes something awful. Woody, what are you doing? Woody, no. Woody, no, what the fuck? Oh my god, Woody! Woody, what the fuck, Woody? Woody, what are you doing? Woody, no, stop, don't do it! Fucking, oh my god! Woody attempts toy homicide! I believe this scene most well demonstrates how truly fragile Woody's ego is. We see Woody as a really likable character up until this moment where he's apparently driven to the edge. Mr. Potato Head then brings up the best possible point about this situation.
Well, what if Andy starts playing with me more, Woody, huh? You're gonna knock me out of the window, too?
It's meant as a joke, sure, but it makes sense. What if Andy began playing with Potato Head, or Rex mainly, becoming as fixated on them as he had with Woody or Buzz? Would Woody have done the same thing? I mean, I'm like 20 or something, and this question of morality is still a very real thing to ponder on. Has Woody just been patronizing everyone else this whole time? Perhaps Woody is truly the false prophet. The toys begin turning on Woody, and even though we don't want to see Woody get torn to bits by his own crew, I can't really say that they're wrong. I mean, it didn't happen the way it was supposed to, but nonetheless, he was caught trying to carry out literal murder. And he comes up in the nick of time, and they go to Pizza Planet. But not before heading to a gas station where Buzz returns to Woody for revenge. Buzz is fucking pissed. Initiate fight sequence! Oh shit. So, Buzz and Woody are left in the gas station and oh shit! This leads to probably one of the most memorable scenes ever.
Friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Star Command. You are a toy!
Let me take this time to really express just how much I love Pixar's facial expressions.
Because of you, the security of this entire universe is in jeopardy.
This face, I have this face. This is my face. This is my favorite face. Woody notices there's a Pizza Planet truck probably heading for Pizza Planet and convinces Buzz to come with him. Woody and Buzz sneak into Pizza Planet using a cute little food gag and rendezvous with Andy. Almost. Buzz instead opts to go inside the toy-grabbing game machine thingy, thinking it's a spaceship. Buzz is kinda like that relative with dementia. Woody jumps in after him, and before they can escape... Oh, fuck. As you would expect, the little shit gets a hold of Woody and Buzz.
Let's go home and play.
Ugh, gross. So Sid takes Woody and Buzz back to his house, again showing off a nice bit of interesting cinematography by showing us everything from inside Sid's book bag as we meet his little sister and his dog. we get to Sid's room where he performs a morbid head transplant on toys. After getting to know all the toys in the movie, it's heart-dropping. How the fuck did he get that into his lava lamp? Now we come to arguably the most fucked up but ends up not being so fucked up thing ever, Sid's toys. Much like what he did with his sister's doll, Sid makeshifts his own toys, resulting in actually terrifying to adults creations. You know, like Spider Crab Babyhead, which does this thing. Well, that was awfully unnecessary. Then we have Fishing Pole Sexy Legs. Oh, you know Jack in the Box Gross Hand, right? And don't forget my favorite, Normal Man Head with food roller and hand transplant. Woody is justifiably terrified, and once again, Buzz is absolutely no help. In all seriousness, these designs are simply amazing. They really do teeter on the edge of being too scary, but probably not scary enough to permanently traumatize any children. At least not too badly.
Meanwhile, at Andy's room...
Hey, you guys! I think I found him! Buzz! Is that you? Whiskers!
The next day...
Things are going terribly.
Your Pop-Tarts are ready!
Alright!
I relate to this child in exactly one way specifically. Woody tries to make a run for it, but is slowed by the seemingly malevolent necromorph toys and stops once he sees the dog obscuring the path. Our heroes attempt to make it past the hall, only to have Woody's antiquated pull string blow their cover completely. Run! Okay. We focus on Buzz, who accidentally walks in on a tragically childhood-breaking image and instead notices the TV playing the commercial that will change his little toy life forever.
Karate chop action! Pulsating laser light! Multi-phase voice simulator!
Wow, they really nailed the 90s commercial aesthetic. How Buzz didn't notice that he has sound clip buttons and a literal made in Taiwan engraving is beyond me, but it leads to Buzz making one last-ditch effort to prove to himself that he is Buzz Lightyear by flying.
To infinity and beyond.
The scene ends with an unsettlingly saddening image of Buzz left lying on the ground, with a detached arm. Woody searches for Buzz and finds him at a tea party, missing an arm. Gosh, aren't those nights the worst? Here we see Buzz drunk off of tea.
It's all gone. All of it's gone. Bye-bye. Woo, see ya.
Pixar, you can't do that in a kid's film, you silly shits. This leads to a scene where Woody tries to escape with Buzz using Christmas lights, but thanks to Buzz being in a comatose-like existential crisis, Woody has a really humorous interaction with the toys in which he tries to mine Buzz's presence using his dismembered arm, accidentally making himself look even more like a sick murderer.
Interesting.
Murderer!
No! No!
murdering
no,
dog!
it's not what you think, I swear!
Say that for the jury. I hope Sid pulls your voice box out, you creep.
Oh, Woody, you got yourself into this rabbit hole and you just hit the mantle. Slink, no! The unsightly toys then gang up on Buzz, and Woody makes a futile attempt to stop them. They step back to reveal that they have fixed Buzz, as Woody comes to the realization that the makeshift crew are actually friendly, and that they've simply been trying to protect them that whole time. Which, honestly, Woody could have just waited like 2 seconds to figure out. Whatever. The toys disperse as Woody attempts to get Buzz into a hiding spot and fails as Buzz still can't seem to find himself. Look, I don't want to be that guy, but look at this. Buzz clearly doesn't care if Sid finds him, so why does he default to his idle face and ragdoll form? My best theory here is that the toys have some sort of survival instinct. Of course, in humans, that comes from years of evolution and surviving tiger attacks, but these are toys. So, maybe they have some sort of human spirit embedded in them? Well, who knows? But this is the only way it really makes sense. It would also have to be super strong, like strong enough for it to affect Buzz every time a human was around, causing him to go into that same mode. Here, it would work because Buzz is, to a certain degree, dead inside, allowing this mode to overtake him because what's the difference? Of course, we can't call this a survival instinct since numerous times we've seen toys get abused and destroyed freely. So maybe it's just a toy instinct. The overwhelming urge to go into some sort of mode the moment humans turn their backs. Perhaps Woody and the other toys have adjusted so well to it that they're able to control it. It's impossible to tell why Buzz doesn't just up and reveal himself to Sid, but I digress. Buzz is helplessly strapped to a rocket and Sid waits until the next day to launch him. That night, Woody once again attempts to get out. He gets Buzz's attention and tries to get him to help one last time. It's here that he and Woody have the realest talk I've ever heard.
I can't help. I can't help anyone.
I mean, legitimately, it's probably one of the most heartfelt and serious dialogues I've ever heard. Buzz, in his dazed and depressed stupor, is reluctant to do anything since he feels his life now has no meaning. He's literally been reduced to a toy.
Just a toy, a stupid, little, insignificant toy.
Woody responds by telling him that just because he's not as big as he thought he was, he's still a very important figure to someone, and that he was able to bring one kid infinite joy. He reminds Buzz that he is in fact the coolest toy.
You glow in the dark. You talk. Your helmet does that whoosh thing. You are a cool toy. As a matter of fact, you're too cool. I mean, what chance does a toy like me have against a Buzz Lightyear action figure?
This scene is super important. While Woody made some bad choices, and essentially the whole thing is his fault, he doesn't want to get back for any other reason than to do what he wants to do the most. Make Andy happy. The one thing Buzz has been doing instead of him. Of course, Woody doesn't realize that he's always gonna mean a lot to Andy. Instead, he comes to the conclusion that going back would mean he would only get ignored again and outcasted from the rest of the toys.
I'm the one that should be strapped to that rocket.
All of a sudden, Buzz is gone. Or not! All hope is completely restored as Buzz heroically attempts to save Woody. Buzz pushes the crate enough so that he can jump through.
Almost there.
It's too late though, as Sid wakes up and takes Buzz outside. Woody decides it's time to ask the disfigured toys for help. He finally realizes the importance of Buzz and enlists the toys using a crazy elaborate plan. Coincidentally, it's moving day for Andy. So, not only does Woody have to save Buzz with the help of the other toys, but then he has to get back in time or else he and Buzz will be completely fucked. Cue a super elaborate and cleverly choreographed scene. Everything happens in rapid succession. Check this shit out. First, the frog is wound and let loose, catching the attention of the dog and leading him downstairs. Simultaneously, fishing pole legs and Pez Duck Hunt crawl through the vents and the duck is lowered down to ring the door, prompting the little girl to open the door, allowing the dog to run out, topple over the girl, who in turn gets upset and locks the dog out. Wow, that is some serious foresight, and now the final phase of the plan is initiated. Oh my goodness and Christ, this sequence is something serious. Woody ragdolls in front of Buzz, who expresses complete and utter confusion at what a horrible idea that would be. Sid picks him up, investigates, and places Woody on the grill for later. That's it. As Sid places the match to the wire, an ominous voice clip emits from Woody's voice box.
Reach for the sky.
Oh shit. As Sid investigates, the voice clips get worse and worse. Eventually, Woody, for the first and only time in the Toy Story franchise, comes alive in Sid's hand and verbally threatens him.
Can see everything.
So play nice.
Let me just put this in perspective for you. His hatred of Sid is so powerful that he was willing to risk the secrets of the toys to save his friend. I mean, this to me sort of makes up for the whole almost murdered Buzz thing. It also solidifies Woody's badassery for me. It's also satisfying to see that douchehead piss himself. The moment doesn't last long before Woody and Buzz try to catch up with the van. Buzz gets stuck and Woody, in a very subtle symbolic gesture, chooses to help Buzz so that they can catch up together. This right here is the perfect example of great character development. At this point in the story, we can immediately guess that Woody would go help Buzz because they become such close friends. Of course, towards the beginning of the movie, this would have been a bit of a godsend for Woody. But thanks to the very natural progression of the character development, it's almost like we grow with Woody and Buzz. Here, we come to our big climax finale. They attempt to catch up only to get whizzed over by the moving truck, which quickly turns into a rescue scene as Buzz gets left behind and Woody takes out RC to go save him.
What's
What's he doing? He's at it again!
The other toys see this as yet another murder attempt and throw Woody off the truck. Buzz catches up and they both race towards the truck on RC. Their attempts are in vain as RC's batteries die. All hope is almost lost, as Woody then gets the idea to light the rocket using Buzz's helmet, and before they realize it, Woody and Buzz are sent careening down the road into the truck. Well, RC at least. Buzz has other plans in mind. This is the part where Buzz famously flies over the truck like horizontal Titanic. Remember all that shit I said about cinematography and great shots? Finally, in one fell swoop, Buzz and Woody land safely in Andy's car, and their tiresome journey is finally complete. Toy Story is a movie filled with such personality and character that it's hard to put it into sufficient words. Technologically speaking, it was a huge breakthrough, and it really did set the bar high on Pixar's first go at a feature-length film. For me, Toy Story truly is infinite and beyond. It's not just my favorite movie of all time, but it was the first movie I've ever watched. Since the year I was born, I simply have been in love with this movie. I like to think that one half of my childhood was Crash 2, and the other was Toy Story. These two halves definitely formed me as a person today. It only makes sense. Rewatching this movie today, I find myself connecting with the characters in ways I hadn't previously. Going through life, you feel more and more emotions. And when you do so, your perspective as a person changes completely. It happens all throughout your life. So, when I see someone as confident as Woody turning into a fragile, insecure mess, outcasted by his own society, only to once again gain true confidence and friendship, it truly resonates within me and reminds me of a similar time. When I see Buzz falling into a pit of depression because he wasn't what he thought he was, or what he wanted to be, it's a great piece of perspective and reminds me of all those similar experiences. I mean, you would think that life as a toy means being carefree or something along those lines, but all the toys had their own fears. Getting replaced, getting thrown out, getting sold, being forgotten about. They're exactly like us. They are fragile, and their lives can change in a single moment, and they're simply at the mercy of the world around them, but it's how they deal with it, and how they accept their stations in life, and how they accept their purpose that really defines them. This equilibrium allows them to be whole, and in the end, to be happy. In the end, we're all just toys.
Come to me, I'm not a bug. Trust me. I may be big, but I'm not a bug.